With the recent unrest in Ukraine, I find myself thinking back to a game released in 2003, and that leads me to an interesting question. Have you ever wanted to rule over your own former Soviet republic? Because this guy sure does. Years ago, there was a geopolitical conflict that divided the world. If you were born in the 1980s, there was a good chance this half-century-long event shaped a good part of your childhood's popular culture. A number of 80s films, like Red Dawn, the good one, not the new bad one. Seriously, the subtext in the first one was really good. That was completely missed in the remake. And it had Patrick Swayze. But back to my point. If you were born before 1980, the Cold War had an even more drastic impact. By this I mean the constant threat of MAD, or something called Mutual Assured Destruction. The world had three sides. The First World, which was allied with the United States, the Second World, which was the Warsaw Pact nations, and the Third World, that did not stand directly with either side. The Cold War was fought in far-off places, and never directly between the United States and Soviet Union, typically between proxies. The war cost billions of dollars, and at the end cost the Soviet Union its stability, and the satellite states that it had used as a buffer between it and the West. Because the Soviet Union lacked an economy large enough to sustain the massive military, the result was a collapse, and the former Soviet republics gaining their independence. The game Republic the Revolution puts you in the position of living in one of these satellite puppet states after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The fictional state gives you the option of rising from humble beginnings to eventually becoming the ruler of the entire nation. How you achieve that goal is entirely up to you. Will you do it through freedom of expression, or will you use the aid of religion, or will you enlist workers and win the hearts and mind of those around you, or will you choose to use thuggish tactics and strong-arm your way into power? Such is the beauty and complexity of any revolution. You have so many choices to pick from. However, before you can start your revolution, the game asks you 10 personality questions to shape your ideology. Are you a true free thinker, or are you Stalin, just waiting to stop any kind of dissent against you? Interesting happenstance, though. Your character does look a bit like a young Joseph Stalin. Oh, so handsome. The game won't tackle anything too deep when it comes to revolution. In many respects, the game plays a bit like a board game, and allows you to make moves towards your goal, but not anything too insane like a suicide run in Risk. You know, like that moment you realize when you've been playing a game of Risk for the last 7 hours, and you've become completely stalemated, and you've just decided, screw it, you're going to take Africa if it kills you, and odds are you keep rolling nothing but ones, but you keep going anyway because you're determined to change your fate, and just like invading Russia in winter, it becomes the graveyard of your entire empire. I remember reading articles about this game years ago in PC Gamer. It promised considerably more than what the game eventually delivered, but considering the massive possibilities in a full-fledged revolution, I don't blame them for trying to streamline it a little bit. Consider if you make the game too advanced, you'd just spend years in a pub plotting with your friends and never actually doing it. When you think about the countless factors that have to occur in order for a revolution to be sustainable, I'm not surprised they couldn't get all that into this game. If you ever played the game Gangsters from the mid-1990s, it played a bit similar. Your primary goal is to gain influence over different districts of the city. The greater your influence, the more power you gain. Building your ideology can help you drastically in this as well. The more tailored your personality will help you with this. If your personality is more hardline, you may have a better time using workers or criminal elements to help you get your way. The more free market you are, the better you may have with money and people who have more political influence. Your personality also impacts the people you can recruit. Your ideology allows them to fall in line with you. If they disagree with you, they will eventually leave your organization. Your characters can all level up, so even your henchmen can level up as well. So if you have a henchman who's more criminally minded, you can actually level him up to the point of pulling off full-blown executions or murders of individuals who oppose you politically. For example, with your main character, if you level up charisma and charm and presence, you can have your character hold massive public rallies, which can gain even more support for you in certain districts. What's fun about this game is it allows you to take over the country in a few different ways. However, this is entirely determined by your ideology, which, don't forget, is determined by the personality test you take at the beginning of the game. For example, let's say Dog is an aggressive thug, who also, I think, looks a bit like Stalin, but anyway, Dog will stop at nothing to achieve her goal of taking over the government. So in the game, she would pick all of the aggressive personality traits that fall in line with her military method of thinking, in order to achieve her coup victory. Let's say she does everything like Stalin and works within the party and doesn't take the limelight until after the Bolsheviks take control of the government, and uses her great skill as a filing secretary to start putting all her dog friends in positions of power within the party. And this is only after she's pushed everyone else out who could possibly oppose her. She eventually does take power. This, of course, is after she's painted all those people who did basically go against her as traitors of the Revolution. All glory to Comrade Dog. Revolution is a unique game that, despite all its limitations, is still interesting to play. Having to juggle your internal politics is an interesting way to manage any type of situation, and depending on your party's ideology, the way and method in which you take over changes.